Which WWE finisher is the best? We rank the top 50 to find out, starting off with number 50, the Cobra. Some of you might think I'm insane for including this finisher on here, but I had to. Yes, the Cobra is a joke finisher, but I like to laugh, and I definitely did whenever Santino Marella pulled this one out. Number 49, the Pedigree. It might be a bit controversial putting such an iconic finisher this low on the list. I don't think the Pedigree is a bad finisher. It's fine. It's exciting enough to watch, and it can be performed on anyone, regardless of size. However, I just think there are better finishers out there, like number 48, the Final Cut. It's a cool name and a cool finisher. It's essentially a neck breaker, but it feels more impactful thanks to Goldust lifting up his opponent before flipping them around. Also, it just looks nice. I don't know how else to describe it. The Final Cut is a pleasure for the eyes, but not as nice of a pleasure as number 47, Pay Dirt. This is a finisher that several wrestlers have used, but Shelton Benjamin does it the best. I like the height he gets when he jumps up to grab his opponent, and just the way that Shelton performs it looks great. Now, it is a finisher that benefits a lot from a good opponent. When the person taking the Pay Dirt sells it right, it looks really good, and when they don't, well, you know. Number 46, the Kill Switch. Some people call this the unprettier, and that's fine, but Kill Switch sounds better to me. On top of the name, it's a unique move, with Christian using his back to drive his opponent's face into the canvas. Plus, it looks smooth the way Christian grabs his adversary's arms and twists them around. Number 45, the GTS. The Go to Sleep is a very fitting name for this finisher. Kneeing someone in the face, then watching their lifeless body crumble to the mat is very entertaining to watch. That sounded more sadistic than I meant for it to be. Anyways, the GTS is a great finisher, but not quite as great as number 44, the Celita Del Soul. Also called the Sliced Bread, the Celita Del Soul is not a particularly popular finisher, but I always like seeing it. While other wrestlers have used this finisher, I think Kalisto did it best. Normally, wrestlers performing this move land on their knees or stomach. Kalisto, though, managed to land in a sitting position, which looked even better when he hooked the leg for an easy pin. I'm sure some of you will disagree with me, and that's fine, but come on, that one Kalisto did off the ladder was awesome.
Is he gonna go for this? From up there?
Number 43, the Brock Lock. Moving on to submission finishers, the Brock Lock is more obscure, but I think it's pretty sweet. Brock Lesnar introduced it during his first WWE run, and it looks vicious, especially when Lesnar would start sitting on his opponent. I love the visual too of Brock wrapping his opponent's leg around his massive neck and bending it. Lesnar sadly didn't bring the Brock Lock back with him when he returned to WWE, but I wouldn't mind seeing the submission finisher brought back by someone else. Number 42, the Jackhammer. There are so many little things about this finisher that make it great. I loved how Goldberg would pause after putting his opponent's arm around his neck, giving just a moment to build anticipation. Goldberg would also hold his opponent up in the air as long as possible to again build anticipation and get the crowd hyped. Then it all paid off with the impact. Number 41, Razor's Edge. What really makes this finisher is the height. Razor Ramon always managed to get his opponent as high as he possibly could before sending them crashing down. It made the move catastrophic, and honestly, it was like his opponent was being hung on the cross. I guess that's why Mordecai used this exact finisher years later. Number 40, the Big Ending. I don't know why, but I find it hard to describe what makes Big E's Big Ending good. I guess one is how smooth and effortless Big E made it look. No matter the opponent's size, he was able to get them on his shoulder at the same speed and land with the same impact and explosiveness. Something else I really liked is how often Big E was able to counter an opponent's move and turn it into a big ending, which really says a lot about the man's strength. Number 39, the Zigzag. This finisher really speaks to the ability of Dolph Ziggler because it's a pretty simple move, just grabbing the opponent's back and yanking them down. But I think it's how exaggerated Ziggler is with his body that really makes this finisher work. And I know it's now called the Danger Zone, but to me, it'll always be the Zigzag. Number 38, the Insane Elbow. The elbow drop is a classic wrestling move, and it looks great. But I'm going with Kairi Sane's version of the finisher. Much like how Arn Anderson performs a spine buster a bit better than everyone else, the same is true for Kairi Sane. She turns her entire body into the elbow, and it adds so much to the finisher. Number 37, the Bonsai Drop. I love this finisher because it's so simple and smart. Yokozuna was one of the biggest men to ever step inside a WWE ring, so why not make his finisher just him popping a squat on his opponent? Now, there are two versions of the Bonsai Drop. There's a safer one that Yoko would do to bigger names like Hulk Hogan, and there's also the less safe one that Yoko would give to everyone else. Safety and health aside, the second version looks much more devastating, and is the version I think looks better. Talking about painful moves though, we also have to discuss Number 36, the Alabama Slam. Some finishers are flashy, but the Alabama Slam is not one of them. It has almost zero spectacle, and just looks rough and raw, which fits perfectly with Hardcore Holly. That's what I like about it. There are a lot of finishers that look great, but don't really look like they hurt, such as the RKO. The Alabama Slam looks like it hurts a ton, which is why it earns a spot on this list. Number 35, the Rough Rider. Sometimes a great finisher is just taking an existing finisher and building off it, and the Rough Rider is a great example. It's just like a leg drop, but instead of the opponent laying flat on the mat, they're standing up. It's a simple change, but it made it so cool. If Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder, ever returns to WWE, I hope he brings this finisher back with them. Number 34, the Claymore. This finisher was created by accident. While in a match, Drew McIntyre was trying to perform a big boot, but his pants were so tight that they caused his other leg to get pulled up. In hindsight, this is one of the best things to happen to McIntyre because the Claymore is a great finisher. With that said though, this is a move that looks best with some speed. When Drew hits with little momentum, it doesn't have the same impact as when he does it while running.
Claymore!
When it looks good, the Claymore looks really good. Now on to number 33, the Attitude Adjustment. I've heard people say the AA is a bad finisher, but I honestly don't mind it. Is it an all-time great? No, which is why I'm putting it at number 33. With that said, I think the move looks good visually, with the opponent being rotated up into the air and then slammed down onto the mat. Speaking of visuals, I loved it whenever John Cena was lifting up someone heavy because you could see the exhaustion on Cena's face, which helped tell a story. Additionally, the Attitude Adjustment also allowed for some truly memorable moments.
Do this, John! Good God Almighty!
Number 32, the High Spirits. I think this is the only finisher in history that requires 5 wrestlers to perform it. High Spirits was used by the Spirit Squad, a group of male cheerleaders that dominated WWE in 2006. Their finisher saw all 5 members grab an opponent and throw him up into the air. The sheer amount of height some of these guys would get was unbelievable. Like how the Bonsai Drop took advantage of Yokozuna's weight, High Spirits took advantage of all 5 Spirit Squad members.
Oh my God! The elevation in high.
Number 31, the Bro Kick. Like I said with the Rough Rider, making small tweaks to an existing move can have a big impact, and the Bro Kick is another example. It's essentially a big boot, but with momentum added in. I love the kind of fake out Sheamus does too, where he raises his left leg but actually kicks with his right. All those little things are what earned the Bro Kick a spot on this list. Number 30, the Implant Buster. Karma's WWE career was cut unfortunately short, but she had one of the best female finishers. I love how after lifting her opponents up, Karma just held them there for a second. It demonstrated just how powerful she was and how powerless they were. But of course, the impact of the move was the highlight.
Oh no!
The Implant Buster is such a great name too, especially in the context of Karma's WWE character. And yes, I'm aware it was called the Implant Buster before she came to WWE. Number 29, the Crossroads. Am I the only one who thinks Cody and Goldust's finishers look similar? Anyway, I like the Crossroads for many of the same reasons as the Final Cut. I like the movement, with both Cody and his opponent being flipped around as the opponent's head is driven into the mat. Now, this is another finisher that depends on who's taking it. For instance, the way Finn Balor takes the Crossroads is fine, but the way Logan Paul takes it looks better. Again, the Crossroads is still a good finisher, just with some inconsistency. Unlike number 28, Trouble in Paradise. Back when WWE claimed Kofi Kingston was from Jamaica, they gave him a finisher that reflected that. While Kingston would later drop his Jamaican accent, he kept the Trouble in Paradise. And I'm glad. The spin and then kick to the side of the head looks devastating, and Kofi performs it so effortlessly. And the leg slap is the icing on the cake.
Oh man!
Number 27, the Doomsday Device. This is legitimately a dangerous wrestling move, but that doesn't stop it from being awesome. Hawk flying through the air and clotheslining the opponent looks darn near graceful, and as I say that, I now realize why he's called Hawk. However, the other key ingredient is the opponent taking the move. Seeing them flip and come crashing down onto the mat looks brutal, and this makes it not just a great tag team finisher, but a great finisher in general. Number 26, the Punt Kick. Here's another finisher that can cause serious injury if performed incorrectly. Like with the Alabama Slam, the Punt Kick is not a pretty looking finisher. It looks very blunt. No pun intended. It's just kicking someone in the head as hard as possible. The punt kick is also a great finisher for a heel or bad guy. The only way to do it is if your opponent is already on their hands and knees and in a vulnerable position. I would even say the punt kick is the most violent WWE finisher. However, this is a video on the best finishers, so let's move on to number 25, the chokeslam. It's such a classic finisher that multiple wrestlers have incorporated it into their movesets. Because of that, I'm counting all variations of the chokeslam in this entry, which includes the rock bottom, the south of heaven, etc. With that said, a good chokeslam really depends on the opponent. I mean, look at The Undertaker giving it to Hulk Hogan versus him giving it to Gregory Helms. Still, the fact that multiple wrestlers have used the chokeslam proves just how great of a finisher it is. Number 24, the Codereaker. I'm going to warn you, there's going to be no backstabber in this video. While it is a good finisher, I think the Codereaker is the better version. Instead of kneeing your opponent's back, you knee their face. To me, that just seems more vicious, especially when the opponent's body swings backward upon impact. Again, backstabber is great, but give me a Codereaker any day. Not literally though. Number 23, Murphy's Law. This is Buddy Murphy's finisher while in WWE, and first off, the name is great. But that's not the reason it makes the list. Murphy's Law is a literal spin on the Angle Slam, Kurt Angle's finisher. I know it's blasphemy to say, but I like Murphy's Law better. Granted, the Angle Slam can be performed on just about anyone, regardless of size, whereas Murphy's Law is more limited. Still, I just think it's more spectacular and more impactful. I gotta obey the law, and that's why Murphy's Law is at number 23. But what about number 22, Soul Snatcher? Here's another finisher with a cool name that also builds off an existing finisher. It's essentially an RKO, but Sol Ruca flips off the middle rope before hitting it. It looks sick, and man do I love it. In some ways, I actually prefer it over the RKO, largely because of how beautifully Sol Ruca executes the move. It's just great. But not as great as number 21, Sweet Chin Music. While super kicks are overused today, you cannot deny that the Sweet Chin Music was a phenomenal finisher. It's such a simplistic move, just a kick to the face, but Michael's tuning up the band, the energy he puts into it, and of course, that sound makes this an awesome finisher. There's a reason everyone adds super kicks to their movesets once Shawn Michaels retired, and I honestly cannot blame them. Number 20, the Bank Statement. I don't often hear the Bank Statement brought up as one of the all-time best submission finishers, but here are two reasons why. One is the setup. Sasha placing her knees on her opponent's back and rolling through looks so crisp. The second reason is how Sasha yanks her opponent's body back. It really looks like she's trying to snap someone's spine. It just ticks a lot of boxes. Now, what's the all-time best tag team finisher? Well, it's number 19, the 3D. With or without a table, this move is phenomenal. Bubba leaping into the air as Devon is raising the poor sucker by his legs looks awesome. Plus, having three men all come crashing down at the same time leads to some major impact.
3D!
It's also the only tag team finisher that fans start chanting by name once it's executed.
But now Victor! Set the pin! Prize 3D!
Number 18, the 619. Like I said earlier in this video, when a wrestler incorporates their uniqueness into their finisher, it often spells greatness, and that's definitely the case with the 619. Rey Mysterio's size and height would often be looked at as a disadvantage, but Rey took that and made it an advantage. Not many people can perform this move, and even fewer can do it well, which is one of the reasons it's such a perfect move. Plus, it's a fun finisher to chant. Number 17, the Lion Tamer. Between Chris Jericho's two submission finishers, the Walls of Jericho and the Lion Tamer, I went with, well, the Lion Tamer. Both moves are similar, but the Lion Tamer looks more painful, probably because it is. Jericho putting his knee on his opponent's neck really helps sell the brutality of this move. Both finishers are good, but the Lion Tamer is my pick. Just don't actually put me in it. Number 16, the Lumbar Check. It's not the most famous finishing move, but that doesn't stop Cedric Alexander's Lumbar Check from being awesome. What I think really sells it is the opponent. When you see someone bouncing off Cedric's knees, it makes the move look impactful. Now, that is technically a flaw of this finisher, since it can really only be executed on cruiserweight wrestlers, but considering Cedric Alexander wrestled mostly guys his size anyway, this finisher worked out pretty well. Number 15, the F5. Sure, it's named after a button on a keyboard, but the F5 is anything but basic. The visual of Brock Lesnar swinging his opponent through the air and then hitting the mat looks amazing. Plus, Lesnar can and has been able to perform this move on anyone, regardless of their size. That's pretty impressive. Honestly, the F5 looks kind of like a tornado. Oh, Number 14, the pulverizer. Say what you will about Logan Paul, dude's got a sick finisher. What I really like about the pulverizer is that it's a modified version of another finisher, the DDT. Old school fans will remember Jake Roberts using the DDT as his finishing move, and it was great at the time. However, wrestling has changed, and the DDT is no longer a suitable finishing maneuver. So, Logan Paul adds to it, and boom, you got a great finishing move built off an old one. Number 13, the 450 splash. This is a finisher that doesn't need much of an introduction. It's been used by so many wrestlers, and for good reason. It looks fantastic. I don't have a favorite version of the 450 splash either. Sure, mistakes can happen, but it's a move that provides almost consistent quality, regardless of who's performing it. Number 12, Jacob Fatu's Moonsalt. The Moonsalt is already a great move, but Jacob Fatu makes a small tweak that makes it even better. Fatu jumps on the second rope and then to the top, where he then hits the Moonsalt. Adding those two jumps just makes the move look smoother and more of a spectacle to watch. You could call it the best Moonsalt ever. Number 11, the Curb Stomp. Seth Rollins struck gold with this finisher. His original finishing move, the Skywalker, looked good, but the curb stomp works even better. I love that Rollins literally shoves his opponent's face into the ground, which works so well for a heel or bad guy. The curb stomp was such a great finisher that it was one of the only moves WWE has banned and later unbanned, which really speaks volumes to both Seth's ability and the finisher's genius. Number 10, the powerbomb. The powerbomb, in general, is a great finishing move, and one of the reasons is that there are so many variations. Batista's Batista Bomb, the Shield's triple powerbomb, The Undertaker's Last Ride, and many more. It's a finisher that invites wrestlers to create their own version. Honestly, this video could have been dominated by powerbomb finishers, so I'm only going to choose one as the all-time best. But who does have the best powerbomb in all of WWE? Well, you might disagree, but I'm going to go with Kevin Owens' pop-up powerbomb. Owens launches his opponent into the air and then sends them crashing to the ground. It makes an already spectacular move look even better, and what's really impressive is that it still works, even on guys like Mark Henry and Big E. Number 9, the Tombstone Piledriver. The Piledriver is a classic wrestling move, but I'm specifically going with Undertaker's Tombstone Piledriver. Why? Honestly, it's because of the ending. Taker putting his opponent's hands over their chest and then whipping his hair back is such a great visual, and it not only fits, but adds to his character. There's a reason why WWE allowed The Undertaker to continue doing this finisher even when the Piledriver got banned, and it's because it's the perfect finisher for the dead man. Number 8, the Spear. It's another classic and iconic wrestling move, and also one of the simplest, just running and tackling your opponent. Several wrestlers have made this finisher their finisher, and it's easy to see why. In terms of who has the best spear though, I would say either Goldberg or Braun Breaker, both for the impact and explosiveness. And no offense to Edge, but he definitely had the weakest looking spear. Hey, at least he protected his opponent. Number 7, the Phenomenal Forearm. I was thinking of including Wade Barrett's Bullhammer in this video, but then I remembered that AJ Styles' Phenomenal Forearm is just a cooler version of the Bullhammer. Sorry, Wade. The word cinema gets thrown around a lot, but the Phenomenal Forearm is a move that truly looks cinematic. I mean, just look at these still images. All the momentum and movement Styles puts into this finisher made it easy to include the Phenomenal Forearm in this video. Number 6, the Swanton Bomb. This is the coolest WWE move ever. Jeff Hardy doing his little finger guns and then doing a diving flip forward is just so cool. Every wrestling fan has, at one point, thought about performing a Swanton Bomb, and it's not hard to understand why. It's the ultimate daredevil move, and it's no wonder that's been the finisher that Jeff Hardy has used for most of his iconic OMG moments. Number 5, the Frog Splash. This is just a spectacular move. Whether it's Rob Van Dam's 5-star Frog Splash, Montez Ford's from the Heavens, or Eddie Guerrero hitting it to win the WWE Championship.
Eddie to the top, and he cheated! Frog Splash!
The height, the movement, and the impact of the Frog Splash make it a thing of beauty. Like the 450 Splash, I don't have a favorite version. Although, I will say, the height Montez Ford gets is impressive. Number 4, the Red Arrow. This finisher is another one that's hard to describe with words. I mean, just look at it. It's essentially a shooting star press, but with a literal twist. It looks like a work of art, especially when you see it in slow motion. The regular shooting star press is still awesome, but I think the red arrow, or as it's technically called, a corkscrew shooting star press, is the slightly better version. Number 3, the Canadian Destroyer. I've said throughout this video that I love finishers that take existing moves and put a spin on them, and the Canadian Destroyer is the definitive example. The Canadian Destroyer is just a pile driver, but with a flip. On paper, it sounds simple, but I mean, you're seeing the footage. Doesn't that look amazing? It's the perfect blend of flash and force, but there are 2 more finishers that are just a bit better. Alright, for number 2 and number 1, I'm gonna share them at the same time. The second best WWE finisher of all time is the Stone Cold Stunner, and the number 1 is the RKO. Now, both of these finishers are great, and it was a really tough decision, but here's why the Viper beats the Rattlesnake. The highlight of the Stone Cold Stunner, besides just seeing the move, is seeing how people sell it. There have been numerous fun and creative ways people have reacted to this finisher. However, there's really only one way to give a Stone Cold Stunner. The RKO, though, has so many creative setups and ways to execute it. There's a reason the phrase RKO from out of nowhere became an iconic line. It's given us shock, surprise, and some of the most unforgettable moments in WWE history, and that's why the RKO is the greatest WWE finisher of all time. But what about the worst finishers? Watch the video on screen to see the worst finishing moves of all time.